Okay, picture this. You're scrolling through the Google Play Store, maybe looking for something new, and this AI app, it catches your eye. It's called Midjourney AI.
Sounds interesting, yeah.
Right. And it says, clear as day, 3 days free trial. So you think, great, I'll try it out. No risk.
The classic free trial offer seems harmless enough.
Exactly. But then, bam, almost instantly you get hit with a charge for 75,001. That's what, around 55 US dollars?
For the supposedly free trial.
Yeah.
Ouch.
And this isn't hypothetical. This actually happened to a user, let's call them User A. Global News reported on this specific case.
And unfortunately, it looks like User A isn't alone, not by a long shot. The sources we looked at show this as, well, a pattern.
A pattern? You mean more apps doing this?
Yeah, loads of similar complaints popping up. We're talking dozens of really angry reviews on the App Store, people feeling, scammed.
Scanned by what? Exactly, the same thing. Free trial leads to an instant charge.
Pretty much. The same story. Free trial. Then an immediate automatic payment they absolutely did not expect or authorize at that point.
Which, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What is Google doing about this? If these complaints are so visible, are they, missing it? Or maybe ignoring it?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or maybe the 75,001 question here. Are they doing enough to protect users on their own platform?
So that's what we're digging into today. We've got this report from Global News detailing User A's story and this wider issue.
Right. And we also have data from the Korea Consumer Agency that gives us a broader look at the kinds of problems people are facing with Google's in-app purchases specifically.
And you mentioned this isn't exactly new.
No, not at all. Hankyoreh Shinmun, another Korean newspaper, they've been reporting on similar kinds of deceptive automatic payment apps on Google Play for several years now. It's an ongoing thing.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive,
Yeah.
Let's try to unpack these complaints, figure out what Google's response has actually been, or maybe the lack of one, and really understand the bigger picture around these App Store payment rules and, who should be responsible when things go wrong.
That's good. Where should we start? User A.
Yeah, let's go back to User A and the Midjourney AI OO app. What exactly did Global News say happened after the charge?
Well, the core of it was that stark difference, right? The app clearly advertised 3 days free. So the user expected, naturally, 3 days to check it out before any money changed hands.
Unless they decided to keep it, then maybe a charge later.
Exactly. But nope, the 75,001 hit their account straight away.
Yeah.
And you can imagine User A was pretty upset. They shared their frustration, which is how Global News picked up the story.
And you said this wasn't just one person's bad luck. Global News found others.
Oh, yeah. They mentioned dozens of angry reviews for this app and others, all saying similar things. This whole free trial turning instantly into an automatic payment, it really does suggest something more systemic.
Like a deliberate tactic by some app developers, maybe?
It certainly looks like it could be. A kind of bait and switch. Lure people in with free, then charge them immediately, hoping maybe they won't notice right away or won't bother fighting it.
So what happens when these users, like User A, complain to Google? What's Google's reported response?
Well, this is where it gets frustrating for the users. The reports say Google's standard reply is basically, you need to contact the developer directly to sort this out.
Contact the developer. But Google runs the store, they process the payment.
Precisely. And that's the criticism. It feels like Google is just, washing their hands of it. Users feel like the platform itself should offer more protection or help.
Yeah, it feels like if you bought something dodgy from a stall in a big department store, you'd expect the store management to step in, not just say, go find the stall owner.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
Especially if lots of people are complaining about the same stall. You'd think the store would investigate the vendor, right?
Definitely. And this seems to be backed up by the Korea Consumer Agency data you mentioned.
It does add weight to it, yeah. Their 2024 data showed that, get this, almost 68%, 67.8% to be exact, of all complaints about Google in-app purchases were about refunds not being given or basically contracts not being honored.
Wow, over 2/3. That's significant. So it's not just accidental clicks. It's about failed refunds and broken promises.
Exactly. And the consumer agency didn't just log the complaints. They've apparently asked Google repeatedly to change their terms and conditions to better protect people.
Okay, so what was Google's response to the consumer agency? Did they change anything?
Well, according to the reports, Google's pushed back. Their argument is apparently that they are not a telecommunications vendor.
A telecommunications vendor? What does that even mean in this context? How does that get them off the hook?
It's a bit of legal or regulatory distinction, it seems. They're likely arguing they just provide the platform, the digital space, not the actual service or communication like a phone company. So maybe different rules apply.
Ah, I see. So by saying we're not that kind of company, they argue they don't need to follow the same consumer protection rules the agency is suggesting.
That appears to be the logic, yes. And it underpins their refund policy, which puts the burden entirely on the user.
Which is?
You, the consumer, have to first prove you suffered damages. Then you have to go chase the developer yourself for a refund. Google facilitates the payment, takes a cut, presumably, but steps back when there's a problem with the transaction itself.
So they operate the whole payment system, profit from it, but claim they're just a neutral platform when it comes to refunds for potentially scammy apps.
That's the contradiction people point out. It does seem like they want the benefits of running the marketplace without the responsibilities that usually come with it.
And you said earlier Hankyor Shinmun reported on this years ago, too. Same issues back then.
Yeah, the problem of these sneaky automatic payment apps isn't new. And reports back then also highlighted victims criticizing Google for essentially passing the buck to developers. Same story, different year, it seems.
Did Global News try to get a comment from Google Korea directly for their recent report?
They did. They asked some pretty direct questions, too, like, what are you actually doing to stop these fraudulent-seeming apps? Are you thinking about maybe automating refunds in obvious cases like user A's? Do your terms even comply with Korean law?
And Google's response was?
Silence. According to Global News, at the time they published, Google hadn't answered any of those questions.
Wow. That doesn't look great, does it?
No. And Global News included a quote from someone described as an industry insider that really hit home.
What did they say?
Something like, a platform's credibility comes from responsibility, not just technology. They criticized Google's silence, especially given how much money Google makes in Korea. It basically argues that trust is earned through accountability.
That makes a lot of sense. It's not just about having the best tech. It's about being a responsible player in the market.
Exactly. And this whole situation, it really feeds into the bigger ongoing debate about in-app payment systems in general, not just in Korea.
You mean the whole controversy about Google and Apple forcing developers to use their payment systems?
Precisely. And the commissions they charge, often up to 30%, it's been a huge point of contention globally.
Right, because developers say it cuts heavily into their earnings.
And the argument is that those costs might get passed on to us, the users, in the form of higher app prices or more aggressive monetization, like maybe these shady free trials.
So it's all connected.
Potentially, yeah. And South Korea actually tried to tackle part of this head on. They passed that In-App Payment Mandatory Prohibition Act back in 2021.
Oh, yeah, I remember hearing about that. The first country to do it, wasn't it?
It was a landmark law trying to stop Apple and Google from forcing developers to use only their payment systems and pay those big commissions.
But has it worked? Are things different now in Korea?
Well, the report suggests it's complicated. The platform companies are apparently still finding, let's say, creative ways or indirect methods to maintain those fees. So the fight isn't necessarily over. The effectiveness is still kind of up in the air.
So it seems like we're stuck in this tricky spot. App stores are incredibly convenient, obviously. Access to everything in one place.
Absolutely. The convenience is undeniable.
But then there's this dark side, this potential for users to get exploited through payment terms that aren't clear or maybe deliberately misleading.
And the platform provider, who benefits immensely from the store's existence, seems hesitant to step in decisively when users get burned. That's the core tension.
It really makes you think about your own experiences, you know. Have you ever signed up for a free trial and then just, whoops, there's a charge you didn't expect?
Or tried to get a refund for an app that didn't work or wasn't what you thought and just hit a brick wall trying to deal with the developer or the platform? I bet many listening have run into something similar.
Yeah. It shows we need to be careful, for sure. Read the fine print, maybe set reminders to cancel trials.
True. User vigilance helps.
Yeah.
But it also raises that bigger question again.
Which is,
what responsibility should these huge platforms like Google have? When they build the store, manage the payments, and profit from every transaction, shouldn't they bear more responsibility for ensuring things are fair and legitimate within that store?
especially when things go wrong. Is the current system where you, the user, are often left to fight it out with a developer who might be overseas or unresponsive? Is that really good enough? Is it actually protecting people?
It's definitely something worth mulling over. How much responsibility should come with that level of market power and profit?